Lynn and I are going to give you a treat here and show you how PPR pipe is welded together using sort of a heat gun, if you want to call it.
The heater.
Yeah. So Lynn had a meeting with the guys also about going to the shelf and looking for short pieces that might fit your purpose rather than constantly cutting new.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the problems that they've got with cocoa lumber. They just keep coming and grabbing new pieces. And same with the big pipe.
Yes.
So
the purpose is for, material management. Like,
yeah. It's something I've done all my life, guys. Line it up on a shelf and you go pick the one that's the closest size.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go see Joseph.
Go.
Joseph is doing the heating, and you put it on either side of the machine and then squeeze it in there. Give it a little twist and hold it. And then he's ready to put the pipe inside the wall. So this is the traditional type of construction, guys, where they will chip into the hollow block and then put it back in there. And this bloody thing gets really hot. So you can see why in Western countries maybe they're not using it. Our safety levels have gone ridiculously high. Okay, so here we go again. So you shove the main pipe into the piece. Push, push, push. There you go. And then see, it flares it on the one side. Make sure it's nice and gooey. And then you push it onto that goo level and straighten it up as best you can. And you have a few minutes to be able to work with it. But as you can see now, Joseph is struggling a little bit with it.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, guys, so that's how it's done. I'm going to get out of their way now so they can do their jobs. We found for Michael an orange plug. This will be used for the welding machine. Very distinctive, and it's going to mount right below the panel. Okay, so that when we know we can weld, we use that one. Mainly because this wire coming out of this unit is going to go straight into the panel as number 10 wire, so a much heavier gauge for the welding. We can still use it for regular stuff, but if I want to weld, or these guys want to weld, anybody wants to weld, then we know at least the wire size is the correct size coming out of the panel and into the plug. Okay, so I've got these guys digging here. They're starting 2 more pillars down there. And I desperately need this one put in place. This one right here. Because just from this one, see, these guys are in the center pit because there's 3 pillars down that side. 1, 2, and Eddie and the guys have got that one done. But I need this one because the plumbing is going to come down roughly where these 2 pieces of cocoa are that I just moved. It's going to come down there. CR is going to be over in this neighborhood, back of this pillar. And then the TV room is there. And if that's the center of the pillar, then back here roughly is the kitchen wall. So I have to plan for my water and electrics to come down through this trench and across here, because this is where our electrical panel is going to be beside the kitchen. Okay, we haven't got good sun on the Daggett. And there is the view. So, if I were in the house right now, and I were standing, this is about the height I would be able to look at the Daggett. Daggett means sea or ocean, guys. Only through Facebook Marketplace, we were searching for land, and I was trying to figure out, Lynn, where's Daplin Road? Daplin means along the road, and Daggett means ocean or sea. Probably in their translation it was probably sea, simply because of the Philippine Sea. Okay, and as you can see, the guys are continuing to pile up here. So depending on how much we have in the middle, by the time this project all gets all the pillars dug and backfilled and all of that type of thing, we may be higher than the 60 centimeters, which is roughly 2 feet. Okay, let's talk to you after lunch. Randy and I got our guy wire in place. We were able to find a turnbuckle here and some anchors to pull this down. I got to wrap that end with some tape. Don't want anybody gouging themselves. And goodness sakes, we might be crooked. We're going to have to talk to Lynn about this. I like to see when they've got all these poles planted to see if we've just made the house crooked. And I hope not. I hope not. Anyway, I'll get her to review it with the guys because I can't get through enough on the English when it comes to things like, you know, being square to things. The other thing is getting the guys to put garbage in the garbage bag. If I see one more guy drop something on the ground, I'm going to say the next guy I see doing that gets fired. Okay, so we have really packed this soil down. This is good. Water packing, not pounding, because that's a sewer pipe that's under there. And the guys are well underway. Randy's got about half of his body down in that pit, so that's quite a bit. And so I'll get Lynn to get the guys to put a tape on here, and then I can feel comfortable about all this stuff. Because now we do know that our wall does have a bit of a wedge to it. So we do know that going in. But I don't think it's that exaggerated. Oh, Michael, get out of my way, get out of my way. So our marine plywood is here. You can see it's got this black finish on it. They call it a marine plywood. And the concrete, from what I've seen in the past, just doesn't bind. Okay, they're chipping down here because this was level and they're worried about slippage or water migrating back into the garage, which it will never happen, but that's okay. We need to reduce the slope on here, so they're just chiseling about the depth of a tile plus thin set, right? And then down where the plugs and outlet are, that end will be raised up a little bit. But everything's got to favor over to this drain, okay? The PPR is now in the walls. Now, this is the type of construction that I'm hoping we do not have to do with the AAC block. My goal is to drill down the middle of the AAC and have this go in the middle of the AAC block. So we are getting 6 AAC blocks and I can start experimenting. I need to experiment with doing a lentil for over the window, more Indian style. In India, they make their own lentils with some ready rod, and but you just can't buy ready rod here like we can in Canada and maybe other Western countries. So what we're going to do is I brought enough chunks of ready rod with me. We couldn't fit them in the billet buy-on box long enough, but we will get them to weld it to the end of a 10 mm bar. And then that way we will be able to tighten up and make a lentil. Lentil, just so you know guys, is over top of the door, and you don't want a seam in the middle of the door, which so often these guys put a piece of cocoa lumber and then 2 hollow blocks, and it almost always breaks. Okay, we put the tie wire on there. We may get the electrician back to loosen up. They do their electrical very tight here. Now, they don't get -40 where they get massive contraction. But look at the angle my yard pole is at. For this engineer, I say, ay biga. Lynn's in the back of the car. She's doing all the paperwork and getting caught up. Oh, I gotta show you. She did all of her gardening. So she's transplanted the moringa and those other plants into this hole. So now the guys can take the rest of the soil out of here and use it where they need to use it. We will be, just so you know, we will be adding in this area and probably across the septic tank area here, and for sure down the side. My goal is maybe a oversized hot tub size pool here. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. Okay, it's their guys' break. We will get. Okay guys, not much to report on the property today because Lynn and I, well, I've been hitting the tools. Lynn has been hitting the garden, and we had a few mice nuts things to get. Then we got volunteered to be a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And in a Kia Sportage, we have 6 bags of super fine finishing sand. So we trucked that all the way over here. Now, this is sugarcane. They are starting the burning season, as it were. You don't think sugar has a lot of fiber? Ah! Look at all the fiber. Look at it all. And here's perfectly fine sugar cane, but they're very strict about these vehicles. So they make sure there's no, what we would call when we see logging trucks, no sweepers out the side, and it can't go over a certain height. That's why the guy's putting these poles up, because they will start ripping down. Well, most of what it is now is fiber optic, right? So he's got his branches up there, but look at how steep this thing is. Imagine walking up and down that. Say hi. Everybody wants to be on camera. Anyway, just down below near Lynn's mom's place here, there is sugarcane. Well, there's sugarcane everywhere, but they're hauling it up this road. And the road is so badly washed out now that the sugarcane trucks won't go down there. So they're hand bombing it all the way up all night long so these trucks can take it off. Now, I had no idea there was a quality. They actually grade this like they would grade lumber. And if it's substandard, it goes over to this other sugar plant that will take damn near anything. And then they process it over here. There is quite a good sized sugarcane production facility here in San Remigio, Medellin area. But it only takes much higher quality sugar. So what it's being used for? I have no idea. Probably Coke. Nobody's hanging their laundry on the cranes today. I did that video last year with that crane there. Everybody was hanging their laundry on it. Anyway, suffice to say is there's a lot of road mess with all of this type of sugarcane. You know, drops off onto the road and it gets pounded and pounded. And it's not sand that is the problem on the roads. It's all the sugarcane. And it's not uncommon to see like 3, 4 of these riding nose to tail. down the highway. These guys are all ripped, absolutely ripped. Okay guys, that's a wrap on week 3, day 1.